you are seconds away from learning the 5 things to avoid if you want to build muscle over 50 years old. If you haven't met, my name is Joe Sidaway. I'm actually a doctor of physical therapy, and I help older adults live their best years on their own terms. So let's dive right in. You see, the first thing that makes it difficult for us to be able to build muscle is a standard American diet. Now, what is the standard American diet? Besides McDonald's, which actually kind of perfectly describes what I'm about to say, is the standard American diet is lots of carbs, fats, and very low protein. So when you look at trying to build muscle as you age, you need to start doing things differently than, say, whenever we were in our 20s and 30s. You have to be more diligent about your protein intake. Make sure to eat enough protein that's 1 gram per pound of your body weight. That is going to allow you to have the building blocks to build muscle whenever you start to do the next couple of steps. Which the second thing that we want to avoid is joint pain. So we cannot build muscle unless we're moving and exercising. It's just not possible. Joint pain is something that really hinders our ability to get into the weights, to get into the gym, to get moving, active, and to change our body. And so we need to address those pains now in the initial phase rather than just pitching them down the road. The biggest thing that I've seen that helps is reducing overall inflammation in our bodies. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, does that mean I eat these special berries or, special drinks that I can take? And really, even if those do work, there's something way simpler that is shown time and time again over various research studies to help reduce pain. And that is improving your physical activity, especially increasing your physical activity. So what does that look like? It means that people who go from sitting on the couch and doing nothing all day, except when they have to, compared to people who get up and walk maybe 10 minutes after every meal, or they try to get a certain number of steps in, like 10,000 or 15,000 or something like that. Those people who are just a little bit more active day to day, walking the dog, going out with friends, doing those kinds of things, their pain tends to be lower compared to the people who only move when they have to. When they have a doctor's appointment, when they got to get a soda, or whenever someone knocks on the door, right? You want to shift as much as you can to being somewhat active. Does not mean you have to run on treadmills, does not mean you have to get into marathon running, although I love marathons, so if you want to, kudos to you. Instead, just add a couple of minutes after every meal, like 10 minutes after a meal, and that should take care of a lot of the issues. As we become more active, we reduce overall inflammation. And then that allows us to move on to higher intensity workouts, which is really where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Number 3, the thing that you want to avoid is lightweight. So when it comes to lifting weights, you want to get heavy. You want to make sure to go in there and build up eventually to lifting heavy weights. Because if you think about it, right, the stress that you put on your body is the stimulus that your body is now going to respond to. So if I put light weights on my body, then my body is going to get strong enough to lift light weights. If I put heavy weights on my body, then my body is going to get strong enough to lift heavy weights. And so the more that we accumulate tolerance for lifting heavier things, then we grow and build more muscle. This is not we're trying to tone. This is not trying to firm up muscles. All tone and firming up muscles means is that you're building some muscle, but not a lot of muscle. And not enough muscle whenever we're thinking about what life is going to do to you in the next 10, 15, 20 years, right? We want as much muscle as possible in our 50s, in our 60s, so that 70 and 80 and 90 goes through way smoother than if we had not built muscle. Okay, now the 4th thing you want to avoid is light intensity. Sounds like a lot like what we're saying with number 3, which was avoiding light weights. But here's just driving home the point, is that when we are building our initial phases of being able to build and accumulate muscle, physical activity in the beginning just needs to be light. Lifting weights start off light, okay? As we progress, though, we cannot stay in the light phase. You started with 20 pounds, then you can't end with 20 pounds after a month. You need to increase the weight. Same thing with our physical activity, right? If we want to be able to put on muscle mass and size and get stronger, then we need to increase the intensity of our workouts. It means that after you're done squatting, your heart rate is going to be high. After you finish pressing over your head, you're going to need to recover from those things, and it's going to require higher intensity workloads. The thing I tell people is it's kind of like imagine a teenager who has headphones on and they're just not really able to hear you. And if you just whisper, like, hey, Timmy, come on, Timmy, gotta take out the trash. Versus if you're like, hey, Timmy, go take out the trash. They're able to take out the earphones, they hear you, and whether they actually take out the trash depends on your teenager. But you've gotten the point across, right? You need to shout loud to your muscles, just like sometimes with a teenager with the headphones, you gotta shout loud to them. Now, the number 5 thing to avoid is cardio. Now, it sounds like all these things are contradictory, but there's caveats. So, cardio is king for many reasons. It is so helpful for just your general health, maintaining your heart, maintaining your lungs, being able to improve blood flow, helping with your mood, especially decreasing pain. So, we don't necessarily want to eliminate cardio, but we want to avoid excessive cardio. Now, excessive cardio, it's somewhat person dependent, but I'm going to just say if you want a fast, easy rule is that if you cannot do 3 to 4 workouts per week of lifting weights, then you're probably doing a little bit too much cardio. I'm going to say that again. If you're lifting 3 to 4 days per week and your cardio is stopping you from being able to lift your weights, that means that the cardio is taking away from your ability to grow more muscle. So I feel like the general rule of thumb is if you do about 2 to 3 hours per week of light intensity cardio or moderate intensity cardio, that's great. If we're running sprints and we're doing 100 miles a week, it's going to be hard to build muscle. So we might have to shift from, if you were a runner, especially in your early 20s, 30s, 40s, then you might need to put a pause or just maintain your cardio and build up muscle the best that you can for a couple of months, and then start adding in more cardio as you get stronger. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will promise that I'll go and take a look at them. Thank you so much for watching.